The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame, with exciting Vol sports prints now available.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into The Sports Source. If you like offense and you like a Tennessee win and you like keeping the SEC East hopes alive, then you should have liked yesterday's huge 49-36 wild fireworks display that was put on over at Neyland Stadium. We'll dig into that and talk a lot of big picture, especially about the defense and where the blame lies as the Vols dip into the Cincinnati range. Not a range anyone expected this defense to be in. Injuries have played a role. How big a role? We'll discuss all that. Let's get right into it. Our first segment of this program brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. Do your knees, hips, shoulders snap, crackle, and pop? Mine do more than they used to. Whether you're a senior, middle-aged, or a young athlete, arthritis can strike at any time. Check out Tennova.com to learn more about their monthly seminars on joint pain, how to beat joint pain. Tennova.com is your source for all kinds of great information, and Tennova Healthcare is who took care of me when I had a cancer battle. I trust them with my life. Tennova.com to learn more. Trust these guys, maybe not with my life, but, well, you're usually armed, so I trust with my life. Bob Hodge, VFL David Ligon, Jimmy Himes, VFL Daniel Hood. Appreciate all you guys for being with us today. No reason to complain about the offense. Mike DeBoard and his boys rolled up a huge amount of stats yesterday. Let's take a look. You know, Thursday on our kickoff show on Fox, we said it would be high scoring, but I don't think we expected this. 29 first downs per team. Look at the rushing yards. 376 for Tennessee, 443 for Kentucky. First team this year to run for 400 yards and lose. I think they're 30-1 now nationally. Tennessee averaged 9 yards a carry. Kentucky a measly 8. Total yards, 635 for the Wildcats, 599 for Tennessee. Touchdowns, Tennessee with 7, Kentucky with 4, and that's the difference. Tennessee's defense came through in the red zone, forced 3 field goals and a fumble. Total yards per play, 10 yards per play for the game for Tennessee. 70-yard rushers, 3 for Tennessee, 5 for Kentucky, and then your 100-yard rushers. Crazy, crazy numbers. And also, you got to give Tennessee credit. They broke out the emergency playbook early. Josh Dobbs. It's amazing what happens when you start running Josh Dobbs. The guy is just a phenomenal athlete. I think they had 12 design runs for 150-plus yards from him. We've seen worse Kentucky teams than that one, put up crazy numbers on Tennessee teams better than this one in the past. It's happened, so that's part of it. But was that a day of good offense or a day of bad defense?
Are we going to vote?
Anyone?
I'd say bad defense.
I think we're all done voting right now in this country. Everybody's done with voting.
It wasn't the offense's fault, finally. That's what I felt good about. But, I mean, you look at Kentucky. They've had issues defensively all year, particularly in the secondary, and I think some of the things we did throwing the football showed that. But both sides, both offenses really were able to – the offensive lines were changing the line of scrimmage. I mean, the rushing yards show it enough. So I really would say it was more – bad defense.
I agree. I think it was bad defense too. I mean, look, Kentucky can run it pretty well, but they've been averaging 215. You get 440 something. And there was one stat that you showed to me that underscores this. There were 5 different Kentucky players that ran for over 70 yards. You could have put anybody. Daniel Hood, you could have gained 70 something if you'd have been out there. I just thought it was bad defense on both teams. You had misfits, you had missed tackles, you had missed assignments, missed alignments. I thought it was very bad defense.
I thought it was just really bad defense, just like you said. I mean, Tennessee 76, Kentucky 91 in the country coming in, and it's just they went out there and just laid an egg on it. I mean, it didn't look like they were ready to play on the defense side of the ball, and at least made a fun game for the fans to watch, to see a bunch of points, a lot of fireworks there. But it was definitely a bad defense game.
Bob Shoop had said earlier this year, and I'm going to let you answer this, but I'll throw this in first. Bob Shoop had said earlier this year, you look at all the plays we've run, the vast majority of the yardage have come on 20 plays or something like that, and the other 5,000 plays we've run, we've only given up an average of 2 yards. I don't think he's going to be able to use that stat after yesterday because they were giving up yards on every play.
No, he can just up it a little bit. The vast majority of yards came on 30 plays now.
So it looked like
I'll make an
now
argument.
they average 7 per play. It's more than 30 at this point.
I'll make an argument for good offense, although I can't back it up. I thought that Josh Dobbs yesterday threw the ball better than Josh Dobbs normally does. He had a couple of throws that were just absolutely outstanding. I think maybe if you get him running, that he throws the ball a little bit better. He settles in. That said, that's all a lie. It was a terrible defense. And I thought, and Jimmy mentioned it, I thought Tennessee's tackling was absolutely abysmal. There were several times where they had guys stopped at the line of scrimmage, and the guy goes ahead and he gets 2, 3, 4, 5 more yards after the initial hit at the line of scrimmage. And that's not even counting the plays where, like David said, the line of scrimmage was now 10 yards behind where it was. So some of the offense was good, but it's terrible defense.
One thing also, the defense clearly fatigued there in the fourth quarter, and we've talked about this earlier in the year. The more injuries you have, the less the rotation. The less rotation, the more likely you are to get gassed in the fourth quarter. And also, when you're up, you can say you never turn the brain off, but when you're up 35-16 going into the fourth quarter and you're having your way, I think you turn it off a little bit. But the thing is, they gave up 20 points in the fourth quarter yesterday. Over the last 5 games, they've given up 48 fourth quarter points. So I think you're starting to see where the defense is wearing out a little bit in the second. And Todd Kelly hurt his ankle yesterday. Going to have an MRI today. So how long is Todd Kelly? He's the latest one to go on the list. Go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, they were able to make plays in the red zone to get us a win. And so I'll give them a hats off to that, give them credit where credit's due on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what won the game, was holding them to 3 field goals and then getting a fumble down
They're
there.
also pretty good on third down defense. It was just the first and second down.
Yeah, they rarely got the third down. Is the problem. All right. Do style points matter at this point, though? There were a lot of people upset that this wasn't a good-looking game. Do style points matter at this point in the season for Tennessee?
No. I mean, what are you playing for now? You're playing for a chance to get Atlanta. Style points don't matter there. You're playing for a chance to get, if you finish 9-3 and you don't go to Atlanta, then you're going to go probably to a pretty decent bowl game. Style points aren't going to matter there. So, no, just win. That's all you got to do is just win the game.
Yeah, I think so. I think in 2007, Tennessee had some close calls late in the season. But what did they do? They wound up winning the East Division and playing in Atlanta. So this team's trying to do the first thing Tennessee hasn't done in 9 years, and that's get to Atlanta. So however you can get those wins, I don't think it matters as long as you can win the East Division.
I think if anything, they could lull you into a false sense of security. You may think, hey, look, we're starting to fix things here, and all of a sudden you go play a really good football team again. If the chips fall the way we want them, and Tennessee ends up in Atlanta against Alabama, you think, oh, we have a shot, and they're like, oh, wait, no, we don't.
Yeah, well, the way they're giving up yardage now, I don't think they got a shot if they play Alabama again. I mean, anything's possible, but it would have to be Alabama lost a game last year to Ole Miss where they turned the ball over 5 times. You'd need that and maybe then some if you face them again, all things being equal. One thing that's different, if somebody's sitting there saying, well, you guys were real critical early in the season when they didn't look great against Appy State and they won. They didn't look great against Ohio and they won. They had problems against Virginia Tech and they won. True, but the environment has changed. Back then, style points could matter in rankings. Style points could matter in terms of will this team get in a playoff if they somehow got through that juggernaut schedule in October. And now, as Bob said, it's all about the SEC East. So I think the style points, if you're wondering why we were talking style points earlier, the situation has changed. Daniel, I'll let you finish up. Style points matter to you at this point?
At this point, it's just about winning. And again, I don't think you want to do anything that could possibly cost you any recruits. So I think you need to make big plays, show effort, and get the win. Get to Atlanta, do whatever it takes to get there.
All right, when we come back, well, I'll tell you, later on in the show, just to give you a tease here moving forward, we're going to have a whole segment on Bob Shoop and his defense, the Magic Show. We'll discuss what's up with the Magic Show. But next, and he called it that, but next, Tennessee's chemistry. Is it fixed? And then what else we got? Oh, yeah. How big of a concern is it that you didn't see much John Kelly until Jalen Hurd got hurt, left? A lot of talent there. How come he wasn't being used? We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.